all. So today we will discuss about events in respiration. So what are the main events in respiration? First one is breathing, wherein air will be inhaled through the nostrils. Then once the air is inhaled, where it will go? It will go into the lungs. So gaseous exchange will take place at the level of lungs through the alveoli. So alveoli are richly supplied with blood vessels which will facilitate for the gaseous exchange. That is, oxygen will enter inside from the inhaled air and carbon dioxide will be exhaled out. It will be introduced into your lungs for exhalation. Then next we have is gas transport by blood. What gas is getting transported by blood? Oxygen is getting transported to the interiors of your body. Oxygen is taken by the blood. Then next we have is gaseous exchange at tissue level. What does this mean? Once the air is inhaled from the nostrils, it will enter into the lungs. From lungs, it is entering into the blood through the capillaries surrounding the alveoli, and from blood, oxygen is getting transported to the cells which are present in the tissues. So, to each cell actually oxygen has to move on. What will happen through the blood? The oxygen is being taken to every cell in our body, and group of cells is nothing but tissues. So what will happen? Gaseous exchange will take place at the level of tissues, and then finally the tissues are made up of cells which will lead to what is called as cellular respiration. So actually when you are breathing, it means that each of your cell is also breathing. So finally whatever oxygen you have taken in, it has to reach the cells. So finally there should be cellular respiration. Hope you followed. Next, moving on to what is cellular respiration? The gaseous exchange at the cellular level, at the level of the cells, leading to complete oxidation of glucose to form carbon dioxide and water with the release of energy, is what is called as cellular respiration. So we know that respiration is an energy yielding process, and this is how energy would be derived from the nutrients, and when this takes place at the level of the cells, it is called cellular respiration. So gaseous exchange at cellular level leading to release of energy is what is called as cellular respiration. So there is a mode of respiration called as anaerobic respiration. Here actually this type of respiration is aerobic. In the presence of oxygen, it will be complete oxidation of the nutrients to carbon dioxide and water with the release of lot of energy. There is one more type of respiration which is called anaerobic respiration, or it is also called fermentation, which will take place in the absence of oxygen. So how the definition will be? Incomplete breakdown of glucose to organic acid or alcohol. So what are the components? They can be organic acid or alcohol in the absence of oxygen with little release of energy and carbon dioxide is what is called as fermentation. So that is anaerobic type of respiration. Then let us see the sites of cellular respiration. Within cell, actually which organelles are playing an important role for respiration. The sites of cellular respiration, if you see, it is cytoplasm and mitochondria in the case of aerobic respiration. Both the cytoplasm and mitochondria play an important role, whereas if it is anaerobic respiration, only cytoplasm plays the role there in the respiration process, which is also called the fermentation. So now let us see a very important process which will be usually asked in the exams, which is called as glycolysis. Glycolysis it is called as, that is breaking down of glucose. Breaking down of glucose is what is called as glycolysis. So what the glucose molecule would be broken down? Will be directly converted into carbon dioxide and water? No. Actually there will be several metabolic pathways in between which will lead to final derivation of the energy during respiration. So what will happen during glycolysis is glucose molecule, one molecule of glucose would be broken down into two molecules of what is called as the pyruvate or pyruvic acid. You can see glucose has got 6 carbon atoms are there. C6H12O6 is the formula. Whereas pyruvate, the formula is C3. That means how many molecules of pyruvate you will get? 2 molecules of pyruvate you get, because 2 into 3 is 6. 6 carbon atoms has to be restored. Breakdown of glucose into 2 molecules of pyruvic acid with the release of energy is what is called as glycolysis. It is called as glycolysis. So after pyruvic acid is formed, it can enter into three pathways. One is in the absence of oxygen, okay, other one is in the presence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen, there are two pathways. When there is absence of oxygen, in the case of yeast, it will lead to formation of ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide and energy. Okay, in the absence of oxygen in our muscle cells, okay, in athletes and all we have discussed, there will be formation of lactic acid with the release of little energy. These two pathways are called the anaerobic pathways. And then in the presence of oxygen, what will happen? Pyruvic acid will be further broken down in the mitochondria to form carbon dioxide, water, and lot of energy will be released. I told you nearly 686 kilocalories of energy would get released. Okay, so this is a very important concept. They may ask you about glycolysis, breakdown of glucose into two molecules of pyruvic acid with the release of energy is what is called as glycolysis, and it will take place in the cytoplasm. This step is taking place in the cytoplasm, and these two steps wherein there is no oxygen involvement, they also take place in the cytoplasm only, but only in aerobic respiration mitochondria is getting involved, wherein further oxidation will take place with the release of energy. Then next, let us see some interesting facts related to our lungs. Our total lung capacity in the case of humans is 5,800 ml is the total lung capacity. We have, okay, tidal volume. What is tidal volume? The amount of air you are breathing in and exhaling out per breath is what is called tidal volume, which is 500 ml. 500 ml. Then we have residual volume. What is this residual volume? Is when you exhale your air out, okay, your lung is not getting emptied completely. Some amount of air is always present inside. So that air which is restored within lungs is what is called as residual volume, which is found to be 1200 ml. So because of this residual volume of air only, though you are exhaling out, still your body is able to respire because of the residual volume. Okay, then finally we have what is called pranayama. What we have is pranayama. So pranayama is actually an yogic exercise wherein you will be inhaling and exhaling through the nostrils. So what it will help out is, it will help out in making you active. It will help out in increasing your lung capacity. Okay, and also it will help in better respiration process. Good intake of oxygen will be facilitated, and the number of breaths would be reduced. Actually, we will breathe from 20 to 22 times per minute. But when you do pranayama, your breathing rate reduces to 15 to 18 times per minute. So this increases the longevity of a person. Okay, your lifespan will increase if you do pranayama regularly. So do follow some exercise pattern, particularly pranayama, which will give you a lot of strength, activeness, and also good health. It increases your lung capacity, and all the problems related to cold and other sinuses would be solved easily. So try to do this yoga abhyasa every day, pranayama. Okay, so these are some of the interesting concepts which I wanted to drive in. So hope you follow.